So we're going to go through a full settings guide for the Gulikit TT Max. This is exactly how I've got the controller set up, but I will mention a couple of things where you may want to have it set up slightly different. So first thing you want to do is decide which D-pad you want. The Gulikit TT Max comes with 2 D-pads. I prefer this option that comes in the carry case. And then I've got a taller stick on the right hand side. This isn't the tallest option, this is the mid-range. I've then got the Xbox layout for the face buttons, so A, B, X, Y. I do then personally use the clicky instant triggers. These ones are super short, I really like these ones. And as you can see, I do have 2 paddles on the back of this thing. I only use 2, but you can use 4 if you like. And then when you're swapping the caps, you just want to go ahead and set your tension for the joysticks, get those nice and comfortable how you like them before going into anything else. And that is it. Once you've done that, we can then now go and set up the controller. Now the Gulikit TT Max does not have a dedicated app for mobile or Windows. So everything's done on the controller using this user manual right here. If you've just got the controller out of the box for the very first time, there's a couple of things you want to go ahead and do first. And that is going to be a joystick calibration. And if you plan on using a gyroscope on the controller, then you're going to want to do the calibration for that one as well. So to calibrate the joysticks, what you want to do is hold down both bumpers, D-pad left and the A button all at the same time. And hold these down for 8 seconds to put the controller into calibration mode. And then you'll see that the joysticks start flashing like that. Bear in mind that the A button is actually B by default. Now all you need to do is rotate the joysticks all the way around the edge. And it's pretty quick. The controller will just vibrate once when the calibration's done, and it will automatically come out of calibration mode by itself. So there's nothing else you need to do there. For the gyroscope, very similar. Just place the controller down on a flat surface. You need to do D-pad left, the plus and minus, and the A button, and just keep holding these down. Again, it will vibrate once to tell you that that's complete, and that one's super quick and easy. So just to point out a couple of things, these are not features that I use, and they're not really going to be features that I'm going to be showing you how to use either, just simply because of my style of gaming. So this controller comes with an autopilot gaming function, so APG. This basically is macros, so you can record sequences of inputs to one input. Again, this is not a feature that I use, so I'm not going to really be showing you that one. Moving along though, the next thing you want to set up is obviously any rear paddles. So if you've attached any paddles on the back of this thing, you want to bind those to controller inputs. Bear in mind with this controller, the only thing you can bind them to is controller inputs. You won't be able to set this thing up to use keyboard inputs, which might be a bit disappointing for some people. But yeah, all you need to do is press and hold the settings button right in the center here, and then the paddle that you want to map. You will feel a very short vibration, and then all you need to do is press the button that you want to assign to that paddle. So for example, the way that I've got mine set up is this one is B and this one is A. So I'll press the settings button on the front and the paddle, and then when it vibrates, I'll just simply press B, and that will assign it. You can also set up the autopilot gaming function for the back paddles as well, and it tells you how to do that there, but again, not something that I use. Moving on to the more relevant stuff though, if you do need to just restore the controller to its default settings, that'll tell you how to do that at the top. So it's simply the settings key and the minus key, and then just wait for the long vibration. Now we need to set up the joystick dead zones, and on my controllers, I always have 0 dead zones. Controllers just don't have stick drift anymore now that we've got Hall effect and TMR. So I have the controller with no dead zone at all. So I will press the settings key and the one to the left. So these two right next to each other. And I'm going to wait for the long vibration, and then that confirms that's the joysticks with no dead zone. And that is the default setting as well, so it should come like that out of the box. Another one is turbo, so this is a continuous fire feature. Again, not something that I use because I do play FPS games on a competitive level, so that's not something that we do make use of. Remember how I said earlier that the B button is actually the A button by default? Well, you can swap these around, and all you do is you press the settings button and the plus button at the same time. One vibration means we're now in Xbox mode, and a long vibration means that it will go back to the Nintendo Switch layout. The next one's vibration intensity. I don't have any vibration while I'm gaming on any of my controllers, so I disable this altogether. So I just press the settings button and the D-pad up button and I just keep pressing those until I feel a long vibration, and then that will disable all vibration. If you do use vibration though, there are a few different modes. So there's the rotary mode, then there is the dedicated Gulikit maglev haptic mode, and this is the default setting that your controller will come out of the box with. And then there is the HD rumble, and that's the haptic feedback that you will have on most Switch controllers. The next relevant one is going to be the joystick sensitivity. These joysticks are quite high resolution, and I have them on 150% sensitivity. Yes, this is very high, and this is something that takes a while to get used to. So out of the box, it will come with 100% sensitivity. There is a 50% and a 150%. If you want to set up your controller exactly like mine, then you just need to press the settings button, and then you just need to click in the joystick that you want to change the sensitivity of. So I will press and hold that, and I'm going to press the joysticks until I feel 3 vibrations, and then that confirms the sensitivity is on maximum. Unless you are playing competitive FPS, I would recommend you leave it by default on 100% though, because these joysticks will get very, very sensitive. You can also change the D-pad so that it goes from an 8-way D-pad to a 4-way. By default, it will be an 8-way D-pad, but just press and hold the settings and the D-pad right to change that. The long vibration means that it's on the default setting as 8-way. Personally, I only use 4 inputs on the D-pad, up, down, left and right, so I have it on 4-way mode. Now another one that I don't personally use, but you may want to, if you want to use the gyroscope for aiming, then I actually really like how this is set up. You don't have a lot of configuration or customization when it comes to the gyroscope. A lot of people will be quite disappointed with this, but I actually think it's really good how they've set this up. So you're going to press and hold the settings button, as you do for pretty much everything here. And then what you can do is you can actually choose the left bumper or the left trigger to activate the gyroscope. So the gyroscope won't be on all the time. This is really useful for FPS games when you only want to use the gyroscope for aiming down sights. So if I press the settings button and this left trigger, what will happen is when I'm ADS in Call of Duty Black Ops 7, the gyro will be active for aiming, but then when I let go of the trigger and I'm just firing from the hip, the gyroscope won't be inputting at all. Personally, I do not use this at all with this controller, but I have had a play around with it and it's quite fun to use. Next is just going to be the RGB. So I have mine set up to follow the direction of the joystick around the outer ring here. You've only got these outer rings and then also the logo in the middle. So you're just going to press and hold the settings button and then left on the D-pad to start cycling through all the different RGB effects. This is my favorite though. And then other than another autopilot gaming function, so that's going to be how you make recordings and then share the recordings. So you can create autopilot gaming recording files and then share them. So basically import them and export them. Again, this is not something that I use at all. So it's not something that I'm going to be demonstrating in this video, but that is pretty much it. That is how I've got my controller set up. That's how I use it for Black Ops 7. And for all other games, I have it set up pretty much exactly the same way. But for anything other than FPS games, I will go ahead and switch the triggers to full analog mode rather than having the clicky instant triggers. And that's about it. I hope this was helpful. Drop a like and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.